तो सबसे पहले हम प्ले स्टोर पे जाते हैं। तो आप निकशाला ऐप को प्ले स्टोर से डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। ये ऐप आपको दो चीज़ों में मदद करेगा। पहला तो है यूनिवर्सिटी शॉर्टलिस्ट करने में, दूसरा उस पर्टिकुलर यूनिवर्सिटी पे जिस भी आपने सिलेक्ट किया है उस पे कैसे एप्लीकेशन होता है। लिंक मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन में दे दूंगा, आप प्लीज़ डाउनलोड कर लीजिएगा। तो इंटरफेस ऐसा कुछ दिखता है।
Alright guys, welcome back once again. So at the moment I'm here in the University of Cologne. I have my friend who is studying medicine here and he's here to talk about how was his journey like. From last 7 years he's been here in Germany studying, almost at the verge of completing his medicine studies here. You're in your second last year?
Yeah.
Right. In a very short, I know you have a lot to speak. Can you give us your introduction?
So I am from Khopoli, which is a small town near Mumbai. That's where I finished my 12th standard. After that, I wanted to study medicine in India. At that time, they used to have CET, which was in 2012. They started with NETA from 2013 onwards. And I attempted that. Did not get a good enough score. I was going to repeat my CET. While I was planning on repeating my CET, I got to know about this opportunity in Germany. So I was like, okay, let me just start taking German classes. I did my A2 for like 3 months. And then I felt comfortable with it. Then I was like, okay, what's the next step? And
how much was your percentage in 12th, by the way?
my percentage in 12th grade was 66%, 66.66.
Right. Now, 7 years back, would you say, looking back, the competition was less compared to what it is today?
No, I don't think so, because even then they used to have 5% of the total seats allocated to international students, which is still the case. And the competition is just as high, because even back then there used to be a lot of Eastern European students or like non-EU students wanting to come to Germany for medicine.
I just want to hop onto this point and take this forward. Usually here in Germany, school systems are designed until 13th grade. Like in India, our school systems are only designed till 12th grade, and then eventually we can get into the bachelor's. But to bridge that 1 year of gap, international students are supposed to go through this door called as student colleague, which is the 13th year, and he also had to go through that door. And that you have to study for 1 long year. It comprises of 2 semesters. Now, to get into the student colleague, the 13th year, there is a door which you have to open, and that is called as Aufnahmeprüfung. And to clear Aufnahmeprüfung, you're supposed to know German language, at least B1, B2 level.
Yeah, you
Right?
need a B1 or B2 level participation letter at the least, if not the exam, in order to apply for student colleague to begin with, and to apply for this exam of Aufnahmeprüfung.
Right.
And the chances of you getting a seat are higher the more, like if you have taken German classes at least till B2 or higher.
Right. So the recommendation will be go for at least C1, especially with medicine studies, I guess, because it gets very intensive. Anyway, bringing back the discussion. So, doing his German language, what he said. Second thing is start preparing for Aufnahmeprüfung. Third thing is, once you have cleared Aufnahmeprüfung, eventually you will be in student colleague.
Yeah.
You study 1 long year, and then at the end of student colleague, you get rewarded, and it's called as FSP. So FSP and 12th grade are the deciding factors which university you would end up studying medicine here in Germany.
Yeah,
Right?
correct. Another thing is in student colleague, like many of you might have the question, what is the syllabus like?
Yeah, right.
So in student colleague, they have physics, chemistry, maths, biology, also maths, but not as tough as like for engineering students, because they have separate course depending on what you eventually want to study. So and also German. So the syllabus comprises of mostly what we study in India in our 11th standard, like the basic sciences, physics, chemistry, maths, biology. That's pretty much it.
And this is when you take M course.
Correct, for
Right.
M course.
Right. So if you are supposed to go and study anything with engineering, then you take T course. But since we are talking about medicine, we are talking about M course here. Yeah?
Correct, yeah.
How much did you score in FSP?
FSP, my score was 1.6 according to the German grading
1.6.
system. Yeah.
Let's take the conversation forward from here on. What were the documents did you submit to the university to get the admission in medicine?
So I submitted my Indian HSC, like 12th standard certificate.
Yeah.
Then my German, the Studienkolleg certificate, which is the 1-year bridge program.
Yeah.
And then another important thing was the TESTAS certificate, which is a external, like, optional exam that
Okay.
one can give for bonus points.
Right. And how much did you score there?
My student colleague score was 1.6, as I already told
Yeah,
you.
but like test AS.
Test AS, it's a two-part exam. The first part is for 120 marks. I got 118,
Wow.
and the
Okay.
second part is 130 marks. I got 118 in that
Yeah.
as well.
Would you agree that the scores what you scored in 12th were not up to the par what you see at least here in Germany?
Yeah, definitely. Because in 12th I had extra subjects like Hindi and maths, and because I had to study medicine, my focus was physics, chemistry, biology, in which I think my average in those three subjects would be around 85, 90.
Just to bring this point out, test AS is not the mandatory thing. What you're
Yeah,
supposed
it's
to
an
give.
optional exam.
It's an optional. He gave it because he wanted to make up the scores a bit higher, right?
Yeah, to
So-
improve my final grade.
Correct. Let's take this forward now. First of all, how many universities did you apply with these three main documents?
I applied to all universities, but there are only a few that recognize this TESTAS, one of which is Uni Köln. The other that I can remember is the university in Mainz. Then there's a university of Heidelberg also recognizes TESTAS, but they only have a limit of like 4 bonus points, for example. Like there's a pointing system that you can check out on their website.
Got it. Can you talk a bit about the structure of the course? How is your medicine course divided? Because a lot of people, they may think that I'm coming here for bachelor's. And yeah, can you just talk also a bit about that?
So the medicine program in Germany isn't really divided into a bachelor's or a master's like it is in UK or in India. It's one complete program which is called a state examination, which is like a 6 years program. It is divided into 3 parts. 2 years of preclinical, which is mostly just theory, which could be compared with the first MBBS in India. Then there's a 3 year of clinical period, which is where you take all the clinical subjects, and then you also partially have work at like each department, like orthopedics or gynecology or like pediatry, where you do like a week of practicals each. And that goes on for about 3 years. And at the end of the first 2 years, there's a state examination, which is a centralized examination, which is called the first state exam, which goes on, like, happens in Germany throughout like on the same day, which is the Physikum, it's called. At the end of clinical, there's the final exam that you take, which is the second state exam. And then you have your internship, which goes on for 1 year, which is exactly like it is in India. And the internship is divided into 3 parts again.
Okay.
4 months of surgery, 4 months of medicine, and 4 months of an optional subject.
Right. Which for you is going to be from next year.
Yes, after 3 semesters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take this forward. This is a very crucial question. If there are some parents who are watching,
Right.
this may be relevant for them more. What is the money involved to get a degree for medicine from Germany?
Okay, so the first, as I said, the medicine program is for like 6 years, before which you need Studienkolleg and the language program. Like, you need to learn the language, which the language fees depend from place to place. If you actually take the efforts of learning the language altogether in India, it's pretty cheap than doing it here. But the advantage of doing it here is also you get to get the feel of living in Germany and make friends and understand how the life goes on about. And apart from that, the standardized student expenses, according to the German government, which you have to show as your proof of finances, is like 10,000 a year, 10,000 euros, which is like 8 lakhs Indian rupees.
Yep.
And if you consider 6 years of medical school and then 1 year each of language and Studienkolleg, which is like 8 years altogether, so it will be like 64 lakhs, let's say, like 8 years, 8 lakhs a year.
Right. Roughly 60 to 70 lakhs.
Correct.
That's a win.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to quickly elaborate on one of the points what he mentioned about learning the language. Now, you could definitely learn the language in India all the way till C1 level and still come here directly for Aufnahmeprüfung and continue with your Studienkolleg and all that. But would you recommend people to do only A1 and A2 in India and then have the real experience here of studying further courses?
I would definitely recommend to take at least A1 in India,
Okay.
just so that you get a feel of how the language is, because if you come here without any idea of, then it's probably too late to figure out if you're comfortable in studying medicine, because medicine by itself is a challenge, and that too, if you have to study it in German, it's another challenge altogether.
Got it.
So definitely take A1 or A2 in India.
Just to wrap up the cost of living part, so we are looking at 1 year of language, 1 year of student colleague, the 13th year, and then 6 years of medicine studies. So that's what comprises 8 years. Cost roughly comes up to around 60 to 70 lakh rupees. Here, there is no tuition fees. What you're paying, you're only making semester contribution each semester. So that ranges from what, 300 euros?
Yeah, 250 to 300
250
euros.
to 300 euros. Calculate that, multiply that by 10 semesters.
Yeah.
And then 1 year of internship.
Yeah. But the 250 that you are talking about as a semester bhaiya, like semester contribution fees, which is technically something that you pay for 6 months of travel expenses that you as a student get to travel free. Right. And then you get to enjoy other benefits like the sport center at the university, or like the mess that they have at the university, etc. So I'd also like to add another point to this. We talked about the expenses, which was about 60 to 70 lakhs. But as a student, the student visa that you get from the government, you also get a work permit, which is about 120 full days in a year, or 240 half days, which is about like 20 hours a week, through which, from my personal experience I'm talking, you could actually finance about 60% of your finances, if not more. 60% of, if not more, because I know students who actually finance all of it together, but because as I study medicine, like I don't always have the time. I've hardly worked like 70 out of the 120 days, and through which I have been able to finance about half or 50 to 60% of my finances.
Got it. But I feel like it also comes with how busy your university is keeping you, right?
Yes.
If they're keeping you busy from morning 9 to 9, well, then you have no other choice than to arrange financials for yourself, right?
Yeah. Like you have the option of doing that, but each can decide for his own.
Yeah.
It also depends on what your financial background is like. But there is that option that you have. It's not.
Can you give us an impression about the job market now? After you will be graduating from this degree, where are you looking at for yourself?
So the job market, as far as the medical field is concerned in Germany, there are a lot of vacancies actually. The further you go away from the major cities, most of the hospitals, they have a shortage of doctors over here, which is why they are also allowing medical graduates from even India, for example, who have done their MBBS in India. They can learn the German language and then come here just for work. So considering the fact that they are okay with international doctors coming in and working, that means there's shortage of local doctors which they need. So the job market isn't really as scarce as any. There's a huge demand for medicine, and you have enough opportunity to pick whichever specialty you want, because you don't again have an entrance exam at the end of which there's a job application and a regular job selection process and interviews, through which you can pick whichever specialty you want and choose your specialization and work in that field.
Which one are you going to choose?
I still have another 3 semesters to go. I keep shifting between different subjects, but as of now I find neurology very interesting, so that would be something I'd be really considering, and let's see if there's something else I like in the next couple of semesters.
What is the process for MD? What's after specialization and all that? How does that work?
Specialization, for example, the course of medicine program for 6 years that you get, the degree at the end of which you get is MD, but it's not to be mistaken with the MD we have in India.
Okay.
It's like Diplomat of Medicine is what it stands for over here, which is the same in the US as well. That's the med school that you end, and after that it's the residency program which I'm talking about, when you select whichever specialization you want. And that is just work experience for about 5 to 6 years, depending on what specialty you are in. Let's say, for example, anesthesia or general medicine has 5 years that you need to work for surgery, or for neurology there's 6 years of work you need to do, at the end of which you need to give an exam with your fellow senior doctors which is a centralized, like a recognition exam, but that's not something I really am worried about as of now. So the 6 years of medicine program, 2 years is preclinical, 3 years is clinical, and 1 year of internship. And there are 3 exams, centralized exam, apart from like the internals that you have, which is at the end of preclinical, there's the state exam 1. At the end of the clinical, after 3 years, is the state exam 2, both of which are written exams. And then you have 1 year of internship, at the end of which there is another exam, which is a practical oral exam, which is the state exam 3, at the end of which you are passed.
Right.
And, yeah.
Right. Very spontaneous question. What kind of, I don't know if it's vague, but what kind of salary can you expect once you get on a job?
So the starting salary that you get as a doctor in Germany, it ranges from about 4,000 to like 5,000 euros before taxes, which is like after taxation, it is about 2,500 euros, let's say approximately. And then it goes on increasing each year. Like you start at the same salary that engineers also start at, but then the range with which you go on increasing each year is much higher. Like the growth is much higher.
Got it. And we are talking a month.
Yes,
salary.
that's a month's salary. That's what you get in your hands. When that is after taxes, after insurance, after everything is taken care of. This is what you get for your disposal is 2,500 approximately. And after the 6 years of specialization, each year it goes about like couple of hundreds. At the end of which it would be like about 7,000 to 8,000 a month when you're a specialist.
Got it. Looking from a very broad aspect, what about the recognition of this degree, whether it be India, US, anywhere in the world?
So all the German state-run universities are recognized all over the world, including the MCI in India. Although you do need to give the MCI examination when you go back immediately after the 6 years. But if I finish my specialization and then I choose to go back, then I think I don't need to give that exam. But at the moment, the MCI exams, like the rules keep changing every couple of years anyway, so one can't really look at that. The major thing is you need to consider this as a really serious career option as like Germany, because with this degree you are eligible to work all over Europe. Like you can go to any country in Europe and work over there.
Got it. What if you wouldn't have been successful getting an admission in medical school?
Yeah.
What was your plan B after FSP basically?
So my plan B was I was considering a couple of other courses. There is dentistry, of course, but I wasn't looking into that. My choice was something in the field of research, like molecular biology or like biotechnology, which has a much higher scope in Germany than it has in India. And as Germany invests a lot of money into research, the career prospects in research are also really great. That was my other plan. But even with med school, I could still go back into research and work in the research field.
One last recommendation from your side to everybody who's watching us.
The most important thing as far as medicine is concerned is the fact that you study the program in German, right? So it is really important that German cannot be your weakness, the language. Because as I said, during the course of your studies, getting an admission is difficult, but it's still not as difficult as getting through the college.
Yeah, that's true.
Because each semester comes with their own challenges and you need to study all of that in German. Although the medical terminology all over the world is the same, because it's used mainly Latin, which is what gets used in English and German and all the other languages. But the fact that you work with people and fellow doctors and patients, German is the language that you really need to be good at. Even though your marks are great and everything, I would still suggest take German classes in India and see how comfortable you are and be ready for a plan B or a plan C, as I mentioned.
Right. So would you say, since what you mentioned, would you say people who have scored less than, let's say, 75% should still apply for medicine courses if they want to become doctor?
I would totally recommend it. Not just for medicine, but they should just look at the different number of opportunities that Germany, just as a study destination, provides.
Good. Thank you so much for coming on my channel.
Pleasure.
I hope you guys got solid advice plus information regarding how to study medicine in Germany. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.